My name is Janice Daly. I'm the Director of Sponsorship Sales at School Family Media. Thank you all for joining me today. So, looking to market your brand to families. I imagine that's why you are all here today. You have a product or service which are focused on reaching families, especially families with school-age children. This demographic and consumer segment is extremely difficult to reach, simply from the matter of fact of how busy their life is. Once your kids are in school, you are constantly moving, multitasking. It's really impossible to get their undivided attention with so many different demands on their time. Just a quick couple of demographic facts and stats to level set and really put you in the shoes of these parents. First off, 75% of moms are more likely to be in the workforce, working outside the home, once their kids have gotten back into elementary school. This is a marked shift from parents with infants and toddlers. Once the kids are in school, moms have the time and ability and can actually earn money instead of paying for daycare, so they're going back into the workforce. Obviously, now that demand on their time, it has increased dramatically. Once kids are in school, they're also participating in lots of extracurricular activities. So 85% of kids are involved in something after school. And that something means they need to be driven. And who is driving them? It's most likely mom or dad, taking them to all those lessons, those practices, those performance, those games throughout the week, even Saturday and Sunday, as well as every day after school. So another time commitment for those busy parents. And then a growing trend as parents continue to delay the start of their families. Older parents are now caring for their older parents, their aging family members. So the sandwich generation is coming into great force. 28% of parents with kids, a little bit older, upper elementary age, are also caring now for an aging parent. So when you really stop and think, how in the world do these parents have time to engage with any media, any marketing experience where they can learn about your brand? The good news is many of us, like myself, who lived through those years of being a hockey mom, soccer mom, lacrosse mom, baseball mom, football mom, working mom, PTO mom, and caregiver, for the most part, we come out intact on the other end of this life journey of having kids in school, kids involved in extracurriculars, and taking care of aging parents. So again, really, who has the time during that life stage to engage with your brand? How are you reaching these parents? How are you making a consideration set to switch to your brand? How are you introducing a new product to a mom, to a dad, that you want to get increased trial for, to make then that switch to purchase? So what we're going to do now is shift to some ideas from School Family Media as experts in the field of connecting with this highly desirable family consumer. And one way we know we can reach these parents and these families is through school events. It's the one email that gets opened when it comes through into an inbox. It's the one calendar event that gets marked on every calendar. Parents, regardless of how busy they are, they know how important it is to attend to these different school events, particularly the back-to-school time period where their parents want to meet their child's teacher, understand what's going on at that school for the school year. It's a very important time. It's, of course, a huge marketing period for many consumer brands as well to engage with families. So before we take a deep dive into how you, as a consumer marketer, can intersect these school events and who is driving these school events. So let me just take one moment and introduce you to School Family Media. We have been around for nearly 20 years now in the market, specifically engaged with schools and engaged with all the communities at that school. We started out our company, 1999, known actually as PTO Today. That was our core mission, was to develop content, information, resources for PTO and PTA leaders that exist primarily at that elementary school level. We then decided and learned there are some greater opportunities in that school community. We changed our corporate name, expanded our marketing solutions so that we were now reaching all of the parents, all of the families at the school. Common denominator being that those PTO and PTA leaders were the ones activating our marketing programs. So immediately we were very desirable in attracting brands and companies who are trying to reach families, that core demographic, kids in the household, 6 to 11, 5 to 14, again, high consumption types of families. And then more recently, we've launched a separate division, Teacher List, where we are now engaged with the entire school community, including the teachers and staff. Teacher List is a web-based platform driving the back-to-school shopping season with the required supplies that parents need to purchase for their kids. We make it easier for parents to find that information and then purchase those products. So just a quick backgrounder on School Family Media, who we are, what we do, and now let me explain a little bit further of how we do it. PTO and PTA groups, they truly are the best kept brand ambassador secret out there. These are the parents heavily involved at a school, usually about 5 to 12 of them that make up the core PTO board of directors. They are doing all the planning of different events at their school. They're working with the principals. They're working with the teachers. And as a result, they are very well known throughout the entire school community, including all the parents. They're trusted professionals, really, at that school community. They are well known, and that means when they make a recommendation face-to-face to another parent, that recommendation really carries a lot of credibility and trustworthiness. So immediately right off the bat, we can think about these PTO leaders as your brand ambassador who's talking to her peers face-to-face and in person. So PTO and PTA, not sure if anybody on the call today has any children, particularly in the school age at this point, to know what is the difference? What are these acronyms that I'm tossing around here? Most folks have heard of the National PTA. They are a membership association that's been around for over 100 years, certainly providing some great resources for their member schools, doing a lot of great work in Washington with child advocacy and education issues. But currently today, only about 25% of all school groups belong to the National PTA. The vast majority of parent groups are actually independent. We call them a PTO. What's even more important for any of our discussions is that School Family Media, through our business unit PTO Today, we reach 100% of the market. So we don't care what your name is of your parent group. Our programs are available to any PTO or PTA across the country. So because of this and our connection to these groups, we have created a tremendous grassroots reach on a national scale. So through our content and our resources available online, in print, through social communities, we have developed a network of over 150,000 individual PTO and PTA leaders at over 60,000 elementary and middle schools across the country. And when you think then about the amplification effect, we can leverage our connection, multiply that at a few hundred or a few thousand schools running a marketing program, and all of a sudden we're reaching and engaging directly with millions of school families or hundreds of thousands of teachers and staff. So let's get now right to the core information you are here for is how do I get my brand in front of these families, thinking about school events and leveraging those PTO leaders as my brand ambassador. So PTO and PTA groups, what is their assignment at the school? At the end of the day, it's driving student success. They have three primary pillars that they are tasked with to create that success. Most people have thinking of them of fundraisers, and absolutely that is one of their main goals, is to raise more money for their school to augment the school budget. At the same time, they're looking to get more parents involved in the school. They don't want to be the same 5 to 10 parents that are doing everything. So they want to get more parents involved in the school, and then, of course, supporting the teachers at the school so they can do their job of educating our children. So the first way that we can think about working with these PTO groups and really provide value and assistance to them is by helping them raise funds. And fundraising is a huge business, over $2 billion industry nationwide. And a lot of folks think, oh, that should be easy enough. I'll do a fundraiser. I'll get my brand to give back some money through product purchasing, and I'll help those local schools. Well, we always encourage folks to think beyond the box top and think beyond just selling chocolate bars to help these groups raise money. It's a very difficult and logistical nightmare, honestly, to get a fundraiser off the ground and make it successful for you and for the PTO group. So here's our first idea. Contests and sweepstakes, much easier to run. It's a one-off. You can get your brand as the sponsor of a contest or sweepstakes that will give money back to a school. So getting in front of those PTO leaders with your message about a contest or sweepstakes, like something that we've done recently with Frigo Cheeseheads. Got their brand, got their product actually featured at some school events while building the awareness of a contest they had all about building a brighter future for our schools. We also encourage folks to get creative. Again, thinking outside the box. We are now working with Chrysler in bringing local dealers out to school events where they're running test drives. And for every test drive, the school gets money back in the form of a local donation. So a tremendous way to get those Pacifica minivans right in front of families, getting families inside and into the driver's seat and passenger seat, and it becomes a win-win for both the PTO group as well as those local dealers. The other thing we always encourage our partners to do is to think of us as a resource. So brainstorm with us, consult with us. If you have an idea of what you think might work, give us a shot. We're the experts. We have a lot of background and tried and true methods and failures of what works and what doesn't work in providing value to these PTO groups. Toolbox for Education is a grant program we have been running with Lowe's home improvement stores for the last 10 years. We completely manage the grant application online for schools to put in their information. We evaluate those applications and recommend back to Lowe's how to award those grants, resulting in millions of dollars over the last 10 years going back to local schools. So helping with fundraising, but in creative and different ways than a straight buy my product and I'll give you 10 cents, which is the box tops for cereal's main platform. Increasing parent involvement. This is as equally as important for PTO groups as raising funds. Again, the more parents they can get involved in the school, take an interest in the school, the greater the success of the school across socioeconomic channels. A couple of ways that we can help PTO groups engage with more parents is simply by giving them goodies, giving them free giveaways at their school events. This helps to drive attendance for those events. It gives the PTO leaders a reason to attract parents over to their hospitality area, gets that icebreaker going on with conversation about, here's a gift pack with some new ideas of snacks for your kids, and there's some coupons in here. Again, a win-win for the PTO groups and for our consumer brand partners. Family science nights, so family events are going on at schools across the country every month. Some schools may do one a year, some may do one a month, but they're constantly looking for new ways, again, to bring those parents into the school, show off what's being done by the PTO group, what's happening at schools, and then just having a fun social time for parents and kids to build that community within the school. So let me just quickly jump over to a video we have of a family science night. It's less than 2 minutes, so we should still be staying on track for timing, but I think it gives you a great idea of what these events are all about and the level of fun and excitement that we can bring forward. And of course, this event in particular is all sponsored by a corporate partner who's getting the recognition more from a PR angle on what's available and as a new idea to get their name in front of families.
Event is to get kids excited about science. Any spark that gets ignited about science is fantastic. Family involvement in education is super, super important, and any way we can get them in just strengthens the bond between school and home.
After school, you get to have fun with your family, and it's a pretty good time. It's a pretty good night.
My favorite thing about science is that we get to learn how things work and how they're engineered and how they're built.
My favorite thing about science is that you can make pretty cool inventions.
It's really inspiring me to make my own stuff.
I love it. It means a love for learning. It shows me that they love to learn new things. They think they're having fun. They just don't realize that what they're doing is retaining knowledge.
It's important that our children are exposed to science, as our demographic is not necessarily the one that goes into the sciences. So it's important that they're exposed at every opportunity. We want them to be inquisitive. We want them to think about how things happen and how things evolve. That's that analytical, critical thinking that this helps to support. I think our parents could see how science can be every day, because the activities that we used were everyday household materials.
Okay, sorry, I still get goosebumps every time I watch that video. I actually got to go out to one of the events where we filmed, and it was just a fantastic event. Lots of enthusiasm, lots of energy. Great to see the kids and parents having fun together. So one other idea, again, around brainstorming and consulting with us. We did a program recently with True Moo Chocolate Milk. They were looking to get into the school cafeteria. So they really wanted to talk to the food service directors, but we ended up putting together a sampling program for them that brought the product into family events first, where kids could try the product, parents could learn about the nutritional value, and then the PTO groups were able to take that feedback to their food service director and influence the decision to carry True Moo in the cafeteria. So lots of ways, again, of thinking about brainstorming with us, coming to us with an idea, and we'll build out the program recommendation we think will have the most success for you. And finally, our teachers. May is Teacher Appreciation Month, and there are lots of activities going on across the schools nationwide in recognizing our teachers. PTO groups are driving those activities, everything from handing out goodie bags that we have provided to them at no charge, with our sponsors and partners putting in product samples and coupons for teachers, also a great consumer segment, running different teas and dessert bars and popcorn bars, lunches, breakfast for those teachers. And then I had mentioned earlier also about our Teacher List platform, which again is making that back to school shopping season a lot easier for parents and for schools, where they can post their supply list directly to our website, and then the parents can find their kids' list and actually connect to our e-commerce partners for shopping those lists. So lots of information, lots of ideas I've run through pretty quickly. The last piece of information I want to leave you with today was that idea of live brand experiences. Certainly everyone today cannot ignore the amount of time that everyone is online, on phone, on mobile, for a variety of reasons. But there's something a little bit special about live brand experiences when you can engage directly with a family, put your brand in front of them, put your product in their hands, and then think about that amplification effect. That when a person, really any person, any adult, engages with a brand in person, they are spreading that word. Some research says that it's a 1 to 17 multiplier effect. And it's certainly also coming from a trusted, known friend or community leader. And at the end of the day, I know you folks are all about the ROI. That's what I hear the most, is how are we going to measure ROI on the program? It's through these live brand experiences that we know creates much more of an impact in brand preference, brand or product trial, and then certainly many other media and marketing options out there available. And so results, ROI, how do we track results? First is certainly by seeing the level of engagement and feedback we get from those PTO leaders. They are thrilled to share their success with a program, what it's done for them. We also survey those leaders. We survey the parents for many of our programs that have been engaged with the brands or products that we've put into these school events. So at the end of the day, we're getting thanks PTO today, but we're also getting thanks, insert your brand name here. And I challenge you all to stop and think, when was the last time one of your customers or consumers actually said thank you for marketing to me? So questions. Certainly, we've got a couple of minutes left. That if there are any questions, and let me just check over here, see if we did get anything come in. Yep. Well, this must have been typed up before I got to the last couple of slides, but how do the brands work with you to measure ROI? So yeah, I knew it was going to be top of mind for you folks. Yes, as I mentioned, we do surveys out to the PTO leaders. How did the event go? What was the reaction of the brands that you brought forward or the product? You as a consumer, have you tried the product? Would you recommend it to others? What is your purchase intent? So we complete all of our programs as soup to nut turnkey, and that goes right down to final program execution and follow-up to get feedback for you. And of course, all of those organic photos that I showed you on the previous slide, certainly any that come forward for any of our brand partners mentioning your product specifically, of course, we share those as well. Okay, let's see, there's another question. Oh, the True Moo milk, yes. That's a perishable product. It's not shelf stable. So how in the world did we manage that one? And believe it or not, we managed it at over 600 schools running that sampling program. We provided vouchers to the PTO leaders. As brand ambassadors in charge of setup, they actually even went to their local grocery stores and picked up the 10 gallons of milk needed for their event. So all we did was, through True Moo, got the coupon barcode that would be valid at a local retailer for them to pick up the 10 gallons. They're going to the store anyway to get refreshments or snacks for their event. So this was an easy way to execute that idea. So anybody knows, we've done milk. We've done 2 different milk programs. We've done a few cheese programs. We've even done a frozen snack program, all again leveraging those PTO leaders to just combine their weekly shopping trip with picking up the items for their events. I think we've got a time for 1 or 2 more questions that came in, so let me address this one. You've shared a lot about bringing brands into school events with samples and sponsorships. What if my product isn't conducive to sampling? Yes, absolutely. There certainly are plenty of products or services or companies or brands that are not conducive to sampling. And that's where we can do sponsorships with brand awareness, if that's still a primary goal. No different than TV, right? Getting your brand in front of lots of eyeballs through logos and messaging. We do a lot of distribution of printed literature. Our back to school program is a perfect conduit for message pieces. They get overwrapped with product samples to create a really nice handout at those back to school events. I also mentioned our teacher list website. So we do play in the digital space as well. Certainly a lot of our partners augment a live brand experience program with digital through our marketing and messaging through school e-newsletters. That's our Parent Express model, as well as our teacher list website. We can now deploy remarketing campaigns to the parents that visit that site, which they do in the millions every back to school season. So yes, not to worry. If you don't have a product that can be sampled, we've got lots of other solutions for you. And I think I'm just about coming up on the end. Let me just quickly mention, because somebody did specifically ask about certain market areas. Our programs are available to any school nationwide, depending on our partners' parameters. So we can geo-target right down to a zip code level around specific retailers or focused test markets for launching a product or service. So certainly, yes, we can target geographically, we can target demographically, looking at some of the higher Hispanic family areas using census data. So lots of ways we can carve things out as well. So I don't want to take up any more of your time. I really appreciate everyone that joined us today. I hope to follow up with you one-on-one, and I will be sending this program over to you. Again, the link to the webinar should be available shortly. We also have a lot of case studies available on our website, so feel free to check those out. And let's talk again soon. Thank you very much.